What if the very chemicals meant to protect our food are quietly threatening our ability to create life? That unsettling question is now at the heart of new research linking widely used pesticides to declining male fertility. And here's where the story takes a controversial turn. The evidence isn't just found in labs. It's showing up inside real people, too. A closer look at the hidden threat. Modern farms rely heavily on pesticides known as neonicotinoids, chemicals inspired by nicotine and used to ward off crop-destroying insects. But according to a sweeping review of 21 animal studies published by researchers at George Mason University, GMU, these same compounds may be sabotaging sperm health in male rats and mice. If the biological parallels hold true, this could signal an emerging concern for humans as well. The GMU research team, led by scientist Sumaya S. Irfan, examined experiments conducted between 2005 and 2025 to track how these pesticides influence male reproduction. Neonicotinoids are systemic pesticides, meaning they penetrate every part of a plant: leaves, fruit, nectar, and even roots. Once absorbed, they can easily leach into soil, water, and food chains. Widespread exposure even far from farms. It turns out you don't need to live near agricultural fields to come into contact with these chemicals. A national survey in the United States detected neonicotinoid residues in the urine of nearly half the participants, a clear sign of routine exposure. Scientists call this process biomonitoring, the practice of tracking chemical traces in human samples such as blood or urine. Further reviews have shown that neonicotinoids appear not just in farm environments but also in household dust, tap water, processed foods, and even pet treatments. This broad presence reflects how deeply embedded these chemicals have become in modern life. What animal studies reveal about sperm damage? The reviewed experiments tested different neonicotinoid compounds, doses, and exposure periods using rodents. Every study measured aspects of male reproductive health, including sperm count, motility, shape, and hormone activity. Most people don't realize that traces of pesticides on fruits and vegetables might affect fertility, explained GMU researcher Veronica Sanchez. Across all the reviewed studies, exposure to neonicotinoids consistently reduced sperm quality. The rats and mice exposed to these pesticides often showed fewer and slower-moving sperm compared to their unexposed counterparts. Some also developed more irregularly shaped sperm or suffered DNA damage and changes in testosterone-producing cells, factors that hint at potential hormone disruption. Could this also affect humans? Here's where the debate intensifies. Mammals, including humans, share similar reproductive mechanisms, particularly in how sperm develops through a process called spermatogenesis. Damage observed in lab animals raises red flags for comparable risks in people. Globally, infertility already affects about 1 in 6 adults of reproductive age, according to the World Health Organization. In many cases, low sperm quality plays a key role. One U.S. study found that individuals with higher neonicotinoid markers in their urine also had lower testosterone levels. Not just in men but in women and children as well. Another clinical analysis linked metabolites of imidacloprid, a common neonicotinoid, in seminal plasma to weaker sperm motility. While these findings stop short of proving direct causation, they strongly mirror patterns observed in the animal trials. Everyday exposure and long-term risks. You might be encountering these chemicals in more ways than expected. Produce residue, contaminated water, drifting sprays, or even flea treatments for pets. Each exposure might seem tiny on its own, but over many years the cumulative impact could build up. Scientists suspect oxidative stress, a form of cellular damage triggered when reactive oxygen molecules overpower the body's defenses, plays a major role in how neonicotinoids harm reproductive tissues. This ongoing chemical stress can degrade sperm cells and interfere with hormone balances. These findings demand attention, Sanchez noted. We still don't fully understand how deeply neonicotinoids affect human fertility, but it's clear more targeted research is urgently needed. Co-author Melissa Perry added that public exposure is increasing as American agriculture continues to rely heavily on these chemicals. How to reduce personal risk. While it's impossible to eliminate all exposure, small steps can help. Washing fruits and vegetables thoroughly removes at least some surface residue. Limiting indoor pesticide use and checking product labels for neonicotinoid ingredients can also make a difference. However, because systemic pesticides penetrate crops internally, rinsing doesn't remove everything. Choosing produce from farms that rely more on non-chemical pest control methods is a growing trend among health-conscious consumers. The road ahead. To truly understand how neonicotinoids affect human fertility, researchers need long-term studies that track real-world exposure and reproductive outcomes over time. The latest review, published in Environmental Research, serves as a crucial stepping stone. But much more evidence is needed to draw firm conclusions. Should regulators rethink how widely these chemicals are used, or are the benefits to crop protection still worth the risk? The conversation is far from over, and it might just touch every plate of food on the planet. Like what you read. Subscribe to our newsletter on earth.com, https://www.earth.com/subscribe, for more thought-provoking science stories. You can also find us on EarthSnap, a free app from Eric Rawls and the Earth.com team. What's your take? Do the risks of these pesticides outweigh the benefits? Or is this another case of alarm over uncertain data?